Hi there, this is Jane here from Crystal Sparkles Readings. So sorry about the false start there. So the card that I've drawn for us for today was the Seven of Pentacles. Now, Seven of Pentacles, I was saying, is an interesting card, and it does talk about kind of reevaluating where you are, having to think about things, being very mindful of where you're placing your energy. You know, if you're placing your energy on stuff that really isn't giving you much in return, consider whether you need to continue to place your energy in that place. Now, that could be a person, it could be a project, it could be anything really, you know, something that just you're putting all your energy into and you're getting absolutely nothing back. Sometimes we're just banging our head against a brick wall with something, and the Seven of Pentacles really asks you to consider that and to really think about whatever it is that you're doing that's a struggle, is it worth it? That's the question that I always ask with the Seven of Pentacles, is it worth it? It also says though that don't get yourself embroiled too much in that anxiety of, you know, sort of really just stressing out over it, because it's like you can see she's on the lady in the cards, she's like kind of looking at what she's got, she's looking at her pot of money over here and her pot of money over here, and she's really worrying about it. But you know, you can see that she's kind of thinking it through, but you know what she's doing is she's looking at the pile of more money. So I always feel when I'm looking at this card is that you are probably paying a lot of attention to something that maybe not giving you much back in return, but also that maybe you don't need to pay so much attention to. You know, she's there looking at this big pile of money thinking, oh goodness gracious, look at that, but actually that's good because there's more there. So you know, sometimes we do get our knickers in a twist about things when we really don't need to. So this card asks you to be mindful, asks you to kind of just reevaluate where you are, have a good look at the situation. Don't spend forever unpicking it. Just go with your intuition and not overthink too much. You know, if something just isn't giving you anything back, then either just walk away from it completely or put it on the back burner and go back to it at another time. Sometimes it's the right thing, it's just the wrong time for us. So, you know, just consider whether maybe something is just taking all your time up and you are not really needing to spend all your time doing that particular thing. So let's have a look at the Mystical Shaman deck and see what we've got in this lovely deck of oracle cards. So our oracle deck our card is the Time Master. Now, you know, as you can see, we've got quite a lot going on in this card again, and there are a lot of things that come to light in these cards that you kind of don't always see first of all. You know, it's like I'm really drawn to the whole infinity symbol here. You know, basically it's saying that this is infinite. Time is not linear necessarily. It's not a beginning, a middle and an end. Now, as human beings, that's what we like. You know, we like to know that there's a beginning and a middle and an end. That's how we have learned to work in our world. But what this card is saying with that infinity symbol is that actually, you know, it all just goes round. It goes round and around and round. There's no beginning, there's no middle, there's no end. You know, as spirit, we are infinite. So that's what I am drawn to in that card. So let me just have a quick look at what is said in the book about this. See what jumps out to us in what she says. So the Time Master says, time is a construct of human mind in which life events are seen to flow in a straight line from past to future. So as I said, it's like a beginning, a middle and an end. We like that. This, however, is an illusion, and time moves in patterns, fractals, sometimes turning like a wheel, and others moving as straight as an arrow. So what this is talking about is the concept of time is kind of happening all the time, all over the place, and simultaneously. So it's not just, you know, here's the morning, here's the afternoon, here's the evening. It's kind of more complex than that. So it says humans see time as a ticking clock. This image reminds us that there's only so much of it to spend in life, like a kind of currency. At any given moment, you can see time in all its infinite potential, and once vast and all encompassing, then shrunken and finite. It all depends on your perspective. So this is how you look at it. You know, how are you looking at the time that you have? So this is quite complex and it's quite deep. Basically, when I'm thinking about time, I try not to get too hung up on how long things will take, because that's just blocks you. It becomes very clingy when you get into that energy. And it just, you know, what can I do to draw this to me is a much more valid question than how long is it going to take. So the invitation with this card is, when the Time Master visits you, he asks a most important question. Will you break free from the limited cause and effect thinking by moving beyond linear illusion and welcome the cyclic quality of time? You find yourself in a moment where the wheel of time turns and you are able to influence the past, thus changing the present and the future simultaneously. This is a true test of the Time Master. You are being invited to take back your power, so let go of the past and choose to step into your life in the moment. You are all powerful. You are the Time Master, and anything is possible now. So that's quite deep and very complex, and probably too much to go into in one little sort of daily card. Basically what it is saying is, if you can look at your past in a different way, change your perception of it, you know, change your perception of that moment where you felt like someone was attacking you, change your perception of that, and then you will be able to move on from it. All the time we are in that energy where we feel like we were badly treated, like it was unfair, like there was injustice. All the time we are perceiving things that way, we can't move forwards. And you know, there are terrible things that happen, don't get me wrong, and there are moments of injustice, but in order to kind of live your life, you need to be able to be in the moment. Because if you are in the moment of constantly being in the past and trying to fix what happened in the past, or come to terms with what happened in the past, or make it okay, you can never move forward. So there's an energy of needing to be in the moment and kind of appreciating that the way that time works is a little bit more complicated than just a beginning, a middle and an end. It's quite complex, and I don't, to be honest with you, I'm not going to lie, I don't understand it fully myself, is this whole concept of time not really being the way that we have been brought up to believe that it is, or that as human beings we kind of need it to be. You know, we're here, we've got this perception that we're here for this limited time, and that's true, we are. So everything is about that for us. You know, we've got the time to do the stuff that we've got to do while we're alive. Then what happens? And I think what this Time Master energy is saying is that, you know, actually our time is infinite, our spirit time. So it's not about getting too fixated with when things might happen. It's quite a complex card. The most important thing, I feel, is this infinity thing here. That's what I was drawn to straight away. And that kind of energy of being in a place where we know that although we are only here in these physical bodies for a limited time, our spirit is infinite, and it does go on. And it was here before we were. And that freaks a lot of people out, is that we were in existence as a spirit before we actually came here and decided to do what we're going to do in this life and then go on and do something different. It's just about appreciating that as a concept, I guess. In terms of a card for the day, I feel like I'm looking at the bigger picture when I look at this card. So the Seven of Pentacles is saying, be mindful of where you place your attention, and the Time Master is saying, kind of, I guess, allow yourself to see past the everyday material stuff and into what is more spiritual for us. So not getting hung up too much on when am I going to have this, when am I going to have that, being more in an energy of what can I do in this moment to attract better things. So sorry if that's all a little bit garbled. I'm aware that I've kind of waffled on a little bit. That's probably because the whole time thing kind of freaks me out a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you. You know, the whole concept of this time being completely ongoing and infinite, and these different kind of dimensions where there's a different version of you or me doing a different thing. You know, all those things that we want being there in a different dimension, just have to access them. It's quite complex and it's quite freaky to think about, but it is hopeful, because it does just mean that, you know, when we're in places where we feel a bit bogged down in everyday life, there's much more to it than just where we are and what's going on for us. So I think it's asking us to kind of open our minds to other concepts, to be honest. That's what I feel like this is all about. So I will leave that with you for today. I hope I haven't exploded your brain or kind of done your head in too much. So I will leave that with you, and I will be back again tomorrow to do another card for the day. Bye for now.